Continuing from the previous episode 482. Chapter 1411. Heaven Demon Blood Pool. The 5-foot large jade green demon eye was imprinted into the huge eyes of the ancient heaven demon python. Wave after wave of a mysterious demonic force was emitted from the 3 rotating jade green flowers, causing the murderous intent and violence in the heaven demon python's eyes to gradually fade. Xiao Yan sighed in relief when he saw the power of the demonic eye. Qing Lin's triple jade green snake flower pupils possessed an extremely powerful ability to control snake-formed magical beasts. However, he was uncertain whether Qing Lin's current strength would be able to control this ancient heaven demon python. After all, its strength was equivalent to a 5-change peak Dou Zun. Hiss! This thought had just flashed within Xiao Yan's heart when the eyes of the heaven demon python, which had gradually grown dimmer, began to struggle. Its large body suddenly shook at the same time. Wave after wave of frightening black fog continued to spread from its body. It seemed to have detected Qing Lin's intention and was resisting in an uncontrolled fashion. A ferocious beast that could train to such an extent could not be dealt with so easily regardless of how unintelligent it was. It is indeed not easy to deal with this beast. Shock rose within Xiao Yan's heart upon sensing that this ancient heaven demon python was able to rely on its own strength to resist the triple jade green snake flower pupils. He immediately threw a punch forward. A large cluster of heavenly flames surged out and swiftly lingered around the ancient heaven demon python's body, quickly vaporizing the black fog. "Suppress it!" Xiao Yan cried out in a deep voice when he attacked. The 7-colored heaven-swallowing python formed by Kai Lin in the sky suddenly curled up upon hearing Xiao Yan's cry. An invisible pressure surged out and poured onto the ancient heaven demon python. A suppression that originated from deep within its soul immediately caused the black fog on its body to retreat. At the same time, the little fairy doctor, Yun Yun, Elder Qing Cheng, and the others unleashed many large Dou Qi pillars. These were like ropes that restricted the ancient heaven demon python. Even though the ancient heaven demon python was powerful, it was unable to struggle for a moment when faced with such a heavy pressure. Its ferocious mouth continued to emit a furious roar that caused the entire mountain to tremble. "Qing Lin, quick!" Xiao Yan cried out upon sensing the untamed struggle of the ancient heaven demon python. "Aye!" Qing Lin slightly nodded. She quickly inhaled a deep breath. Both of her hands spread like a blooming lotus as she formed many complicated and mysterious seals. After the formation of these seals, an extremely deep roar was vaguely emitted from her body. The space behind Qing Lin became distorted when this roar, which contained a pressure from ancient times, appeared. A 10,000-foot-long snake-shaped illusory figure formed. The body of this illusory figure emitted an extremely ancient aura, and it possessed 9 snake heads. Surprisingly, it was the 9-headed heaven serpent that Xiao Yan had seen back then. The wildly struggling ancient heaven demon serpent's body shook the moment that 9-headed heaven serpent illusory figure appeared. Both of its eyes finally revealed a dense fear. Faced with 2 ancient snake bloodlines' ancestor pressures, even this extremely violent heaven demon python trembled. Triple jade green snake flower pupils, demon eye, open. After summoning the 9-headed heavenly serpent illusory figure to completely suppress the heaven demon python's soul, 3 jade green flowers suddenly quivered before they slowly bloomed. A jade green bone-chilling demonic pupil was present at the intersection of the 3 flowers. It seemed to have awoken as it slowly opened. The space in front of Qing Lin cracked the moment this eye was opened. The enormous body of the ancient heaven demon python stilled in an instant. "Stand back!" Xiao Yan's eyes focused on this demonic eye. His mind immediately became absent as his heart became shocked. He hurriedly released the heaven demon python and quickly pulled back. At the same time he also shouted a warning to everyone. The others understood that Qing Lin's demon eye did not discriminate between enemies and allies when they saw Xiao Yan retreat. They hurriedly scattered and did not dare stand close to her. Qing Lin's triple jade green snake flower pupils are really frightening. If I was someone from the snake tribe, I would have ended up like the heaven demon python. Xiao Yan withdrew by a great distance. The current Qing Lin was able to control a little of the 9-headed heaven serpent's strength. If she completely summoned the 9-headed heaven serpent, she would be even more frightening. After all, the ancient heaven serpent was an existence that could be compared to an ancient void dragon and the ancient heaven phoenix. The demonic and unusual eye slowly rotated as a thumb-sized jade-green light ray suddenly erupted from it. This light ray left an imprint on the stiff heaven demon python's head with lightning-like speed. Immediately, a palm-sized green flower surfaced. The remaining violence within the large eyes of the ancient heaven demon python quickly disappeared when this green flower appeared. A gentle emptiness replaced it. Is it successful? A joy flashed across Xiaoyan's eyes when he saw the ancient heaven demon serpent pause in the sky. If Qing Lin was truly able to control this big creature, the strength of their group would undoubtedly soar. The strength of a 5-change peak Dou Zun was still quite a powerful existence even in this ancient wasteland region. Qing Lin slowly shut her eyes when the flower was formed. The enormous 9-headed heaven serpent's illusory figure behind her also slowly disappeared. That ancient pressure that permeated the sky quietly paled. Kai, the enormous 7-colored heaven-swallowing python once again transformed into an enchanting figure that hurried down. She used a surprised gaze that glanced at Qing Lin. The 9-headed heaven python that Qing Lin had summoned caused even her to feel afraid. This kind of abnormal existence was likely something that only those legendary 9-colored heaven-swallowing python could contend with. Have you controlled it? Xiaoyan's body swiftly transformed back to his original form as the golden light surged. He appeared beside Qing Lin and asked, Fortunately, we have exhausted quite a lot of its strength. Additionally, there is elder sister Kai Lin's spiritual pressure. Otherwise, I would not have been able to subdue this fellow. Qing Lin laughed. That's good. Hurry up. Let's go and find the heaven demon blood pool. Xiaoyan sighed in relief. After which, he turned to the enormous mountain with a black fog permeating over it. His eyes vaguely contained some heat. His body moved, and he rushed toward the mountain. After which, Kai Lin, the little fairy doctor, and the rest quickly followed. This mountain was extremely dangerous and large, but there were no other ferocious beasts living around it. They had all been expelled by this ancient heaven demon python. This had saved Xiaoyan's group some trouble, so they followed the energy ripple that was vaguely emitted from the mountain and quickly found the heaven demon python's cave. The heaven demon python's cave was located in the middle of this mountain. It was a dark, cold, and moist place. White bones were piled high, and some of these bones were that of humans. It was a wonder just which unlucky people had become food for this heaven demon python. The group knit their brows and wandered around these piles of bones before stopping at the end of this cave. The end of the cave was scarlet and rocky. There was a 100-foot-wide pool in the middle of these messy rocks. The interior of the pool was saturated with a scarlet blood. Occasionally, some bloody bubbles would rise from the blood pool. The bloody bubbles burst and an extremely dense energy spread from them. Some beast bones were still floating in the blood pool. From the looks of it, that violent heaven demon python had even thrown some ferocious beasts inside. Is this the heaven demon blood pool? ? The little fairy doctor involuntarily asked. Her skin had turned numb upon seeing this scarlet color. Yes, it should be this thing. Xiaoyan slightly nodded. He could sense that the interior of this blood pool contained an extremely dense energy. It seemed that this heaven demon python had put in a great amount of effort in order to form this blood pool. Unfortunately, it had ended up benefiting Xiaoyan. I might delay for 2 to 3 days in this place. Qing Lin, you should summon the ancient heaven demon python to continue guarding the mountain during this period of time. Even if there are some experts passing by, they will not offend an existence like it for no reason. Xiaoyan turned to Qing Lin as he spoke. Understood. Qing Lin nodded after hearing his orders. Will there be any danger? Kai Lin glanced at the scarlet blood as she frowned and asked. You can rest assured. Although the energy inside is violent, it is not at a level where it cannot be endured. Xiaoyan shook his head as he replied. Since this is the case, you should be careful. Send a signal if there is an unexpected change. Kai Lin was unable to say anything else when she saw Xiaoyan's insistence. She issued an instruction before leading everyone to slowly withdraw. Xiaoyan smiled when he saw everyone gradually withdraw. Only then did he turn his body. His expression was a little grave as he looked at the pool of blood in front of him. The energy inside was a lot more violent than he had expected. He wondered just what the heaven demon python had thrown in. My constitution is strong to begin with. Additionally, there is the dragon phoenix ancient armor hiding in my body. I do not believe that I cannot do anything to this heaven demon blood pool. Exclamation mark quote. Xiao Yan stood beside the blood pool and mused for a moment. He gave a cold smile and pressed his toes on the ground. His body leapt into the blood pool without hesitation. After which, a splash was emitted as he landed in the blood pool. Chi. After Xiao Yan landed inside the blood pool, the originally quiet heaven demon blood pool immediately began to boil. Countless blood bubbles continued to rise. A thunder-like mysterious sound quietly appeared. It immediately spread into the distance. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 483. Chapter 1412. Nine Star Dou Zun. Pain. A bone-deep intense pain. Pain was the only thing Xiao Yan felt after leaping into the heaven demon blood pool. The interior of the pool was filled with an extremely wild and violent energy. This energy appeared to have been stirred as it struck Xiao Yan's body from all directions like countless poisonous snakes. The ancient heavenly demon python had thrown some unknown things into this blood pool, causing it to boast some extremely strong corrosive properties. Wisps of white smoke erupted the moment the tendrils came into contact with Xiao Yan's skin, which resulted in an intense pain that drilled into one's heart. Hiss! Xiao Yan inhaled a violent cool breath in his heart because of this intense pain. His hand seal subsequently changed and his heavenly flame erupted from his body. It turned into a circular flame barrier that covered him. I do not believe that I am unable to deal with you, a mere heaven demon blood pool, since I was able to finish off your creator. Sizzle sizzle. The wild and violent energy that had erupted immediately emitted a sizzling sound the moment the heavenly flame appeared. This energy was vaporized by the heavenly flame. The remaining energy gradually became gentle after being refined by the heavenly flame. It turned into unusually pure energy that seeped into Xiao Yan's body. Whew! Xiao Yan only sighed in relief after sensing that the energy had become a little more gentle. The heavenly flame was only able to refine the corrosive properties that could harm him. The remaining energy was beneficial to Xiao Yan and would pour into his body after being refined. As wave after wave of gentle pure energy continued to surge into Xiao Yan's body, he could feel these energy roaming around his skin, muscles, and bones. Each time this energy disappeared, Xiao Yan clearly sensed the strength of his body grow stronger at a slow rate. This place is indeed a perfect training ground. Joy involuntarily rose within Xiao Yan's heart when he sensed the slight change in his body. With this progress, he would be able to rely on the energy of this blood pool to train the King Kong glass body to its peak, and he would be able to break through the 8th star and advance to a 9th star Dou Zun. The energy in this heaven demon blood pool was quite terrifying after having accumulated natural treasures that had been gathered by the heaven demon python over hundreds of years, but this was only from Xiao Yan's perspective. The energy within the blood pool might be terrifying, but it was also impure. The heaven demon python was a brutal creature with low intelligence and a powerful physical body. Even if its cubs were to absorb this energy, it would only allow them to evolve quickly. If any other human were to attempt to absorb it, the interior of their body would turn into a mess by this impure energy. At that time, not only would one's strength fail to advance, but one's many years of bitter training might also be ruined. Fortunately, this kind of mottled energy did not pose too much of a problem to Xiao Yan since he possessed a heavenly flame. Under the frightening temperature of the heavenly flame, any impurities instantly disappeared. Xiao Yan crossed his legs and sat in the blood pool as an increasing amount of energy poured into his body. He merely sat in the blood pool, waiting. Both of his eyes were tightly shut as he quietly waited for the moment of his breakthrough. 2 days passed by in the blink of an eye while Xiao Yan was quietly training. Kai Lin, Little Fairy Doctor, Yun Yun, and the others had remained at this mountain belonging to the heaven demon python during these 2 days. This place was considered quite safe due to there being no ferocious beasts around. The ancient heaven demon python that was under Qing Lin's control had been released. It simply entrenched itself on the mountain top and spat out a dense black fog all day long. Quite a number of experts arriving in this place during these 2 days, but their expressions changed and they chose to take a detour when they saw this big fellow. Everyone knew the brutalness of these ferocious beasts when they went all out. Moreover, this ferocious beast was at the peak of the Dou Zun class. There would definitely be injuries and death if they fought it. Those who had come to this place seemed to be after the Bodhisattva ancient tree. Who would come and engage in an all-out battle with a red-eyed ferocious beast for no reason? By relying on the ferocity of the heaven demon python, everyone lived in peace during these 2 days. They quietly waited for Xiao Yan to successfully exit his retreat. The water in the blood pool deep inside the cave had already been reduced by half, and the scarlet hue of the water had diminished. Over half of the energy within it had disappeared as Xiao Yan devoured it during these 2 days. A figure with half his body exposed was present in the middle of the blood pool. The skin of the current Xiao Yan was a lot more rosy compared to 2 days ago. It seemed as though there was an endless amount of blood hidden under his skin. At this moment, Xiao Yan's eyes were still tightly shut. His entire body did not move, appearing just like a statue. However, everyone could sense an extremely powerful energy brewing within Xiao Yan's body at this moment. This energy was like a volcano that was about to erupt. It was searching for the opportunity to break through. This opportunity was something that one needed to wait for. The water in the heaven demon blood pool continued to reduce as everyone waited. When the 3rd day arrived, the water within the heaven demon blood pool was exhausted. A countless number of dense white bones were revealed in the heaven demon blood pool after the water was exhausted. These bones contained some strange unknown things in them. A rich bloody scent spread from them while Xiao Yan sat like a statue surrounded by these many bones. A blood-colored light was quietly circulating under his skin. This quietness continued for around 2 hours before an invisible ripple suddenly swept away from Xiao Yan's body. Bang! This invisible fluctuation erupted, and in an instant, it had shattered those bones in the blood pool into dust. The ripple continued to spread, and it collided on the mountain wall. Even the entire cave trembled. Xiao Yan's aura suddenly soared when this invisible fluctuation was emitted. This soaring was basically instantaneous. It was like a volcano erupting, appearing as fast as lightning and as ferocious as thunder. Bang! The soar in his aura merely lasted for a moment before a low muffled sound appeared from deep within Xiao Yan's soul. The Dou Qi in his body widely soared at this moment. His long hair danced as his robes fluttered. Many cracks swiftly spread from the spot he sat. They covered the blood pool basin in the blink of an eye. Bang! Xiao Yan's tightly shut eyes were suddenly opened when this sound from deep within his soul appeared. A blood glow lingered in his eyes. King Kong glass body. After this cry was emitted from Xiao Yan's throat, a golden light began to radiate from his body. His body swelled quickly under this brilliant golden light. 10 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, 70 feet, 80 feet. Xiao Yan's body continued to rapidly swell. In the blink of an eye, his body reached 80 feet in height. Moreover, it did not show any signs of stopping. Xiao Yan's body seemed to have met a kind of bottleneck the moment it swelled until it was 89 feet tall. The swelling swiftly slowed. However, Xiao Yan was unwilling to remain at this stage. His face turned flushed as he cried out. Bang! After this cry sounded, Xiao Yan's body, which had ceased swelling, suddenly became bigger once again. It reached 90 feet. A giant that seemed to be completely made from gold stood within the mountain. An overbearing, indestructible aura surged out of its body. Finally, the giant's legs curled as it suddenly stomped on the ground. Bang bang bang! This violent stomping caused the ground to sink by over 10 meters. That golden giant, which Xiao Yan had transformed into, emitted a swoosh sound as it violently collided with the top of the mountain cave like a cannonball. It continued to charge up and formed a large tunnel with its frightening strength. Xiao Yan seemed to have penetrated the mountain. His body charged toward the mountain peak from within the mountain with lightning-like speed. Boom! Xiao Yan's speed was extremely quick. In less than half a minute, a large tunnel formed within the mountain. Eventually, his body rose, and it broke through the top of the mountain while emitting a loud sound before appearing in the sky. Roar! The gigantic body with a golden luster paused in the sky. A breath was blocked in its throat. Finally, this breath turned into an earth-shaking roar that reverberated into the distance. Kai Lin's group had sensed something when Xiao Yan was forcefully breaking through the mountain. Hence, they rushed into the air and saw a giant golden figure tunneling through the mountain. His aura has soared. Has he successfully broken through to a 9-star Dou Zun? Kai Lin softly muttered when she sensed Xiao Yan's strong aura. Ha ha! Junior Pavilion Chief's training speed is really something to marvel at. Elder Qing Chen softly sighed. He had spent almost all of his life in order to reach this stage, yet Xiao Yan had already reached it at his young age. Moreover, Elder Qing Chen clearly understood that he might not be a match for Xiao Yan if they were to really fight. Those elders from the flower sect also exclaimed and nodded. When they had met Xiao Yan for the first time back then, he had merely been a 2-star Dou Zun. It had only been less than 2 years, but he had already reached the 9th star. This speed caused them to feel ashamed. Nalin Yanran's pretty eyes looked at the figure that was filled with an incomparably overbearing strength. A gloominess and self-ridicule flashed across her eyes. That man, whom she had viewed as trash back then and insisted on ending their engagement, had currently tossed her far behind him. The thing that caused her to feel depressed and helpless was that she seemed to have formed some faint feelings for this man, who would have become her husband. Even though she understood that it was only one-sided on her part. This is perhaps my retribution from back then, she thought in her heart. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 484. Chapter 1413. Ancient Region Stage. A thunder-like roar turned into a sound wave and spread into the distance. After this roar gradually disappeared, that golden figure in the sky swiftly began to shrink. The figure recovered his original form. His body moved as he turned into a golden light that rushed toward everyone while he laughed. Junior Pavilion Chief, congratulations. Elder Qing Chen congratulated him with a smile when he saw the laughing Xiao Yan head over. It was a lucky breakthrough. Xiao Yan grinned and replied. He twisted his body. A feeling of being full of strength was emitted. He was much stronger compared to 3 days earlier. The peak of an 8-star Dou Zun and the 9th star were merely a step away, but there was an enormous difference between them. Based on Xiao Yan's estimation, if he were to completely unleash the King Kong glass body and the clan tattoo's strength at the same time, his strength would be comparable to a 4 or 5 change peak Dou Zun. Moreover, if he were to include the Great Heaven Creation Palm and his other powerful Dou skills, he would be able to fight against a 6 change peak Dou Zun expert. Has anything happened during these few days? Xiao Yan randomly asked. He only smiled after seeing everyone shake their heads. His eyes shifted to the deepest parts of the ancient wasteland region. They were narrowed slightly as he said, "We have delayed another few days. Looks like we must quicken our pace and hurry to the ancient region stage. It would not be good for us to arrive late." Kai Lin and the rest nodded. Nearly a dozen groups of people, if not more, passed by this mountain during these 3 days. Based on the direction they were heading, they were clearly charging toward the ancient region stage. It was likely that many experts had already gathered there. Let's go. We should not delay any longer. It is best for us to leave now. Xiao Yan also understood that they were pressed for time. He immediately waved his hand as he gave a command. Should we use this big fellow as a ride and hurry over? The strength of the ancient heaven demon python is considered to be one of the strongest in this ancient wasteland region. We will be able to use its fierceness to charge through if we meet any other ferocious beasts along the way. It will save us some trouble. Qing Lin pointed at the enormous heaven demon python lingering in the air and laughed. Ha ha, this is naturally the best. Xiao Yan was startled. He immediately smiled and nodded. His body was the first to move as he rushed onto the large body of the heaven demon python. The rushing sound of wind appeared behind him as Kai Lin, the little fairy doctor, and Yun Yun quickly followed. That incomparably violent heaven demon python had become extremely gentle under Qing Lin's control. It did not resist even a little. When Qing Lin emitted a whistle, a dense black fog was quickly emitted from the heaven demon python's body. After which, it formed a black cloud that was driven by the heaven demon python. It moved its body and rushed toward the deepest parts of the ancient wasteland region like a thunderbolt. The mountain where Xiao Yan's group had been was quite far from the ancient region stage. If they were to travel normally, they would require at least 3 days. Fortunately, they had the heaven demon python as their stead this time around. This saved them a lot of trouble. The fierceness of this big fellow was quite infamous in this ancient wasteland region. An ordinary ferocious beast would not dare to appear and stop it after sensing it. Xiao Yan's group was able to take the initiative and detour around those ferocious beasts that were comparable to the heaven demon python in terms of strength. Even if these beasts were able to detect the heaven demon python, they would not purposefully pursue it because of their fear. In this way, Xiaoyan's speed had significantly increased. Xiaoyan also came across some factions along the way, but most of them were factions that Xiaoyan had never met before. They were likely factions that usually kept a low profile. These factions usually did not show themselves, but they did possess a strong foundation. They were like the Cloud Wind sect, which Xiaoyan had never even heard of, much less even seen. However, that faction possessed 3 experts at the peak of the Dou Zun class. One of them even had half a foot in the Ban Sheng class. This strength was comparable to the elders or even grand elders in renowned factions like the Profound Sky sect. Although these factions were quite strong, Xiaoyan did not intend to stop and befriend them. Currently, all of them had come with the same aim. Unless they possessed an extremely special relationship, they would ultimately end up fighting each other. That fragile relationship could easily be broken by the temptation of the Bodhisattva ancient tree. Even though there were many factions who wished to step forward and express their goodwill because of the stead that Xiaoyan's group rode, Xiaoyan did not give them the opportunity to do so. He asked Qing Lin to increase their speed, causing those fellows to be rebuked. Xiaoyan's group spent 2 days traveling without any obstructions before they gradually approached the area of the ancient region stage. The ancient region stage was rumored to be the site of a battle that happened during ancient times. Many extremely powerful experts had once died during this battle, causing the land to vaguely create a strange pressure. It was this pressure that caused this place to be the only location within the ancient wasteland region where ferocious beasts did not dare to tread. Additionally, this ancient region stage was located at an intersection between the middle and deepest part of the ancient wasteland region. One could enter the deepest part of this ancient region from this stage. Therefore, many factions had chosen to come to this safe resting spot in this ancient wasteland region. The Heaven Demon Python was withdrawn when Xiaoyan's group was around 5 kilometers away from the ancient region stage. The beast was too big and attracted too much attention. It must naturally be stored away in order to avoid some unnecessary trouble. Xiaoyan's group flew for another 10 minutes or so after approaching the ancient region stage. An enormous square suddenly appeared in their line of sight. Xiaoyan's group was stunned when they saw this square appear in the wilderness. Only after seeing the dense crowd of humans standing on the square did their hearts finally came to a sudden understanding. This place was likely the so-called ancient region stage. Everyone, be careful. Xiaoyan sighed in relief after seeing that so many people had gathered together. There were ferocious beasts all over this ancient wasteland region. It was the first time he had seen so many people since entering the wasteland. It caused him to relax a little, but Xiaoyan understood that this feeling could not be relied on. Hence, he softly uttered words of warning. Everyone nodded when they heard Xiaoyan's reminder. They had covered the 1,000+ meter distance within the blink of an eye. They slowly landed after approaching the enormous square. Their arrival also attracted some eyes, but these eyes quickly shifted away. Some groups and experts hurried to this place during this period of time. It was nothing surprising. The bloody scent on these people is really dense. Xiaoyan's eyes swept over the crowd, which had separated into small circular groups of varying sizes. There was a similar scent radiating from all these people. All of them boasted a bloody scent. This scent was not the blood of humans. Instead, it was that of ferocious beasts. Don't tell me that these fellows have formed groups to hunt those ferocious beasts? Xiaoyan felt some doubt in his heart, but he did not open his mouth to ask. Instead, he slowly led Kai Lin's group to the square before heading to the middle. Under normal circumstances, the Jiyu clan would likely not give up such an opportunity. The Bodhisattva heart and Bodhisattva seed possessed a miraculous effect on the younger generations. The people who were at the peak of the Dou Zun class. Some new elite Dou Shengs might even appear as a result. Xiaoyan naturally did not wish to search for the Jiyu clan. The one he wanted to find was Xuan. With her status in the Jiyu clan, she would definitely be given the chance to come and attempt to find this Bodhisattva ancient tree. Due to the beautiful Kai Lin, the pristine Yun Yun, and the gorgeous little fairy doctor, their group attracted a number of unusual gazes when they walked into the square. The group that could reach this place possessed a great strength. Moreover, there were all sorts of people present. If these people still possessed some sense of reasoning, they would not have been able to resist stepping forward to strike up a conversation. Even though this was the case, some impudent gazes still caused the faces of Kai Lin's group to turn icy cold. Xiao Yan did not meet anyone he was familiar with as he walked, causing him to feel a little surprised. Upon approaching the middle of the square, he began to discover a problem. It seemed that the groups or people that were closer to the middle of the square were stronger. Those at the outer edges were the weakest. He wondered if this kind of positioning occurred naturally or it was the result of someone's actions. Xiao Yan knit his brows. His footsteps did not slow as he gradually arrived at the middle of the square in front of everyone's eyes. Only after arriving at that spot did Xiao Yan discover that there was a 1,000-foot large 2-meter-tall stone stage present at the middle. There were some people on the stone stage, but their numbers were a lot less than those below. Nevertheless, the people on the stage all expressed a common trait. Their auras were all extremely powerful. Xiao Yan was startled when he came across the stage. However, he did not give it any additional thought. His eyes swept over the stone stage as a smile immediately surfaced on his face. He finally found some familiar figures, especially when it came to a green-clothed beautiful lady seated with her eyes shut in the crowd. A gentleness flashed across his eyes. Let's go and meet some familiar people. Xiao Yan turned his head and informed everyone. After which, he stepped onto the stone stage and walked to the Gu clan area. However, the moment Xiao Yan stepped onto the stone stage, he suddenly sensed ice-cold eyes thrown at him. At the same time, a faint icy cold voice slowly sounded from the stone stage. This place is not where you should come. Get lost! Xiao Yan's footsteps paused when he heard this icy cold voice. He turned his head. As his eyes glanced over, the corner of his mouth was lifted into an arc. Feng Qingyur, if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 485. Chapter 1414, Show of Strength. The icy cold voice that suddenly sounded on the stone stage attracted some surprised gazes. The eyes of some people began to gloat when these eyes swept over Xiao Yan and Feng Qingyur. Xiao Yan Gege. The group from the Gu clan sitting in a corner of the stone stage also shifted their eyes over because of Feng Qingyur's voice. That green-clothed young lady, who had been resting with her eyes shut, had opened them at this moment. Her pretty eyes locked onto the skinny young man who had stepped onto the stone stage. She was momentarily startled before some joy began to surge into her eyes. Ha, it looks like Xiao Yan has met with some trouble. It is unexpected that he has also formed a grudge with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. A silver-robed man by the side smiled as spoke. This person was not unfamiliar. He was one of the 4 great generals of the Gu clan and had entered the Heavenly Tomb to train with Xiao Yan back then, Gu Hua. Xuan bunched her eyebrows together when she heard his words. Her bright eyes landed on the colorfully clothed woman as she softly said, "This Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe is going overboard. Don't be anxious to intervene. Xiao Yan will be able to resolve it." Gu Qingyang faintly laughed. With his senses, he was naturally able to tell that Xiao Yan had already become a 9 Star Dou Zun. Although Feng Qingyur's aura was a little strange, Xiao Yan was able to defeat Gu Yao, who had reached the peak of an 8 Star Dou Zun, when he was a 5 Star Dou Zun. Even less needed to be said now. Xuan nodded. Her bright eyes suddenly slid to a spot behind Xiao Yan and finally paused on Kai Lin. An unknown fluctuation rose within her eyes. The stone stage, where many discussions had been occurring, became a lot quieter as a result. Numerous eyes gathered on Xiao Yan. A noisy girl, there is no need to bother. However, Xiao Yan merely smiled under the focus of these many pairs of eyes. He did not even turn his head to Feng Qingyur. All he did was turn his head to the group behind him and randomly utter some harsh words. After which, he lifted his foot and climbed onto the stone stage. A furious green surged onto Feng Qingyur's face when she heard Xiao Yan's words. Both of her eyes became unusually cold. She waved her hand and a colorful pillar tore through space like lightning. It ruthlessly shot toward Xiao Yan's head. Bang! Xiao Yan's feet paused when he sensed Feng Qingyur's sudden attack. His left hand was extended and grabbed that colorful pillar. At the same time, a frightening flame quickly appeared. It transformed into a ferocious string of flames that rushed toward Feng Qingyur through the pillar. HMPH. Feng Qingyur's eyes turned cold upon seeing this flame. She was aware of the great strength of Xiao Yan's heavenly flame. She pulled her finger across the line and the pillar was cut apart. At the same time, a vast and mighty aura that was ancient and experienced suddenly surged out of her body in all directions. An earth-shaking phoenix cry vaguely appeared. This feeling. It is indeed that of an ancient heaven phoenix. Xiao Yan's heart shook when he sensed Feng Qing'er's aura. This aura and feeling was somewhat similar to the ancient heaven phoenix avatar that had died a countless number of years ago back in the ancient forest of the Dou Sheng remains. Although Xiao Yan was not certain why this aura had appeared, he was certain that the reason Feng Qing'er's strength had soared was definitely related to that dead heaven demon phoenix. Xiao Yan, today, you will use your life to compensate me for the pain that I have received. Feng Qing'er's face was icy cold as she glared at Xiao Yan with a great hatred. If Xiao Yan's group had not snatched the dragon phoenix origin fruit, they would not have suffered punishment after returning. Fortunately, they were able to find a trace of heaven phoenix essence blood from within the heaven phoenix corpse that they had brought back from the ancient forest, but that essence blood was quite weak. Hence, the heaven demon phoenix tribe experts decided to forcefully transplant the bones in order to obtain the pure heaven phoenix essence blood. They placed the bones with hidden heaven phoenix essence blood into the body of a clan member. However, this transplant would undoubtedly result in one enduring an endless amount of pain. There were a total of 10 young clan members who had undergone the bone transplantation in the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, but it only succeeded for 2 people. One of them was Feng Qing'er. Those 8 others, who had failed, all died. HMPH. The eyes of Kai Lin and the others behind Xiao Yan turned cold when they saw Feng Qing'er attacking as she pleased. Dou Qi surged out of their bodies. After which, many pairs of eyes coldly looked at Feng Qing'er as Dou Qi gathered in their palms. You are Xiao Yan? Since Qing'er wishes to spar with you, you should fight with her alone. The others need not intervene, otherwise, you will end up suffering a loss. A faint voice was suddenly transmitted from behind Feng Qing'er when Dou Qi surged from Kai Lin's group. Everyone looked over, only to find a white-robed man. Surprisingly, this man had rare-colored pupils, appearing extremely strange. Over a dozen experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe were staring at Xiao Yan's group in an unfriendly manner when man with colored pupils spoke. Clearly, they would all attack at the first disagreement. The ones who will suffer a loss will perhaps be your group, right? A similarly calm voice was suddenly transmitted from another direction after man with the colored eyes spoke, causing the man to be startled. His eyes glanced toward the source of the voice before frowning and demanding, Jiyu Qingyang. Is your group also planning to interfere? Ha, if it is a one-on-one fight, we naturally not need to intervene. However, I cannot really endure watching people bully others with numbers. Jiyu Qingyang faintly laughed. After which, his eyes slid to Xiao Yan as he nodded. Xiao Yan returned a smile when he saw Jiyu Qingyang nod, but his eyes remained on the green-clothed girl from the Jiyu clan. The Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe was not an ordinary faction. Even a faction like the Jiyu clan would not easily clash with them. The reason that they were willing to intervene was likely because of Xuan. That green-clothed lady in the crowd sweetly smiled at Xiao Yan when she felt his gaze. That short-lived flower-like smile caused many experts to give her a sideward glance. Ha, all right, since this is the case, we'll let you give it a try. The colorful-eyed man stared at Jiyu Qingyang for a moment. He did not expect Xiao Yan to possess such a relationship with the Jiyu clan, but he was extremely cunning. He smiled as he turned his head to speak to Feng Qing'er. Feng Qing'er nodded after hearing the words of the man with colorful pupils. Her eyes coldly looked at Xiao Yan as she cried out, Xiao Yan, do you dare to step forward and accept this challenge? Xiao Yan smiled. He extended his hand and stopped the group behind him. Most of the people here were unfamiliar, so Xiao Yan saw a gloating expression in their eyes. He had come to this place for the Bodhisattva ancient tree, but this place was chaotic with all sorts of people. Many experts were also present. One needed to deter others if one wished to survive in this wasteland. Naturally, he could not step back now. As you wish. Xiao Yan slowly stepped forward. His face still contained a smile, but both of his eyes flickered with a dangerous chill. Although he was uncertain why Feng Qing'er's strength had soared, she still lagged far behind him. Even though her strength had soared, she was only a 3-change peak Dou Zun. Other 9-star Dou Zuns might not be able to defeat such an expert, but this strength was nothing to Xiao Yan. HMPH. A cold smile surfaced on Feng Qing'er's face when she saw Xiao Yan step forward. Her foot stomped on the ground as colorful silk shot out in all directions. The silk appeared like incomparably sharp blades since they were accompanied by an extremely sharp wind that covered the area within 100 feet around Xiao Yan. He had nowhere to retreat. It is still the same old tricks. Your strength has soared, but you are unable to control it. You are just like a beggar who has picked up a treasure. Xiao Yan slowly shook his head when he saw the colorful silks cover his sight. He took one step after another forward. A dense flame suddenly surged out of his body and wrapped around him. Any silk that charged into the flame would only be able to charge 5 feet forward before they were turned into ashes that scattered. Xiao Yan took one step after another toward Feng Qing'er as many people watched. His strolling steps appeared quite relaxed. Compared to Xiao Yan's comfortable manner, Feng Qing'er's face was a furious green. She had not expected that she would not be able to pose a threat to Xiao Yan after her strength had soared. How could her prideful self endure this? Heaven Phoenix Shadow! A furious cry was emitted from Feng Qing'er's mouth. Dou Qi quickly surged out of her body and formed a 1,000-foot large Heaven Phoenix illusory figure in the sky. Wave after wave of an ancient pressure spread. Ow! The enormous Heaven Phoenix illusory figure let out a clear cry as both of its wings were flapped. It carried a frightening might that ruthlessly shot toward Xiao Yan below. That momentum caused the expressions of many experts to change. Xiao Yan finally halted because of the enormous Heaven Phoenix illusory figure. He lifted his head and looked at the Heaven Phoenix that was swiftly being magnified. He was certain in his heart that the great increase in Feng Qing'er's strength was definitely related to that Heaven Phoenix skeleton in the ancient forest. Xiao Yan, die! The hatred on Feng Qing'er's face became even denser as she stared at the Heaven Phoenix illusory figure, which was less than 1,000 feet from Xiao Yan. An icy cold cry echoed across the square. At this moment, Xiao Yan was unable to dodge even if he wished. It is still the same little tricks. However, Xiao Yan merely grinned when he heard Feng Qing'er's cold cry. He did not show any sign of dodging. All he did was slowly shake his head. At the same time, a golden light surged from his dark black eyes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 486. Chapter 1415. Meeting of Two Women. After Xiao Yan's soft laughter rang out, a bright golden light suddenly erupted over the square like a golden sun. Most people hurriedly narrowed their eyes because of this glaring golden light. They were unable to see a human figure where the golden light had appeared. The golden light had already filled one's eyes. Although they were unable to see anything, those people present on the square were not ordinary people. They were still able to sense the enormous Heaven Phoenix illusory figure in the sky with its extremely majestic energy. They then sensed it ruthlessly collide with the spot where Xiao Yan stood. Bang! The entire square violently shook the moment the collision occurred. A powerful energy rippled along the ground and formed a circular shape, which suddenly spread apart. Some of the experts who were closer were forced to take a couple of steps back. The wild and violent energy spread apart as everyone forcefully opened their eyes. Dust filled their sight, and they were unable to see the exact situation. Arrogant brat! Some of the experts shook their heads when they saw this dust. This person dared to act arrogantly in the face of a full-force attack by EP483-487 Dou Zun. He was really seeking death. HMPH. Feng Qing'er looked at the spot where dust filled the air. Her tensed body relaxed slightly as a snort was emitted from her nostrils. Ever since she had met Xiao Yan, it was the first time that she had gotten him to taste such a feeling. Bang! However, Feng Qing'er's snort had just sounded when the ground where the dust remained suddenly trembled. A golden light suddenly rushed out at an extremely frightening speed. This golden light was extremely huge, but an instant later, it turned into a skinny figure. Finally, this figure appeared in front of Feng Qing'er in a ghost-like fashion in front of many stunned eyes. How is this possible? Shock surged across Feng Qing'er's face when she saw Xiao Yan appear in front of her with his clothes completely intact. Before she could launch another attack, a palm was rapidly magnified in her eyes. Bam! The clear sound of a slap suddenly echoed over the stone stage. Everyone saw Feng Qing'er's body fly back and rub against the ground. It only came to a slow stop about 100 meters away. Her thin and frail yet pretty face was left with a blood-red handprint. Traces of blood hung on the corner of her mouth as some disbelief remained visible on her face. She had been slapped so hard by Xiao Yan that she had fainted. Regardless of where your strength has come from, it ultimately does not belong to you. You used some unorthodox means. Xiao Yan looked at the figure in the distance with cold eyes. His voice was calm and rippleless. Strength could only be relied upon if one obtained it from training. When Xiao Yan had obtained Xiao Zan's inheritance back then, he had not crazily increased his own strength. Instead, he had done his best to suppress it. On the other hand, Feng Qing'er had gone all out to try and raise her strength, but this was an unorthodox method. She would never truly reach the peak. Hiss! The surrounding observers inhaled a breath of cool air when they saw Xiao Yan send Feng Qing'er flying with a palm strike. This fellow really did not know how to show mercy to a beautiful girl. How violent! If I was in his place, I would not be able to strike such a beauty. Tisk tisk, I would prefer to secretly beat her when there are only the two of us. Xiao Yan randomly swung his hand as he heard these strange laughs. His face was without expression. Feng Qing'er's earlier attack intended on taking his life. Xiao Yan would not treat such a person as a woman any longer. Instead, she was an enemy. Xiao Yan had never shown mercy when facing an enemy, regardless of how beautiful she was. Bastard! The group from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, along with the man with colored pupils, were stunned when they saw what happened. The members of the tribe immediately became furious when they recovered. They stood up and prepared to attack. Stop! Qing'er is weaker than him. Carry her back. The man with colored pupils suddenly opened his mouth when these people were about to attack. His colored pupils looked at Xiao Yan as he softly said, "You are quite strong. If you wish to probe someone else's strength in the future, you should do it yourself. You are really nothing to ask a woman to do it." Xiao Yan glanced at this man with colored pupils as he reprimanded him. Ha ha! I have learned my lesson. I will act personally the next time around. That man with colored pupils seemed to smile in an unconcerned manner, but his colorful eyes flickered with a dangerous glint. I will await you, any time. A grin had also surfaced on Xiao Yan's face. After which, he ignored that person and turned around. He led Kai Lin's group to where the Jiyu clan was located. The smile on the face of the man with colored pupils slowly disappeared when Xiao Yan turned around. A jade pendant in his hand was quietly turned into dust before scattering from his palm. He, you are really ruthless. This is the first time I have seen you beat a woman. The silver-robed Jiyu Hua gave Xiao Yan a thumb-ups and laughed when he saw him leading a group over. Xiao Yan was helpless when he heard Jiyu Hua's words. He cupped his hands to Jiyu Qingyang and the rest. After which, his eyes looked at Xuan'er in the middle. Xiao Yan Gege, you are very late this time around. Xuan'er softly laughed after seeing Xiao Yan look over. Her pretty eyes suddenly swept behind Xiao Yan as she spoke. This must be older sister Kai Lin, right? I have frequently heard Xiao Yan Gege mention you. Kai Lin was slightly startled when she heard Xuan'er's words. She had heard Xiao Ding mention Xuan'er back in the Jia Ma Empire. This person was Xiao Yan's childhood sweetheart. If that incident hadn't happened, the one who would have become Xiao Yan's wife would most definitely have been her. Moreover, Kai Lin also understood that Xuan'er occupied a great part of Xiao Yan's heart. From a certain point of view, Kai Lin was a little like the third party in this relationship. This kind of embarrassing position caused Kai Lin to feel a little uneasy, but she still nodded gently as a form of politeness. Xiao Yan felt a little embarrassed in his heart when he heard the two women speak, but he was unable to say anything. He led his group over and sat down. The group that followed behind Xiao Yan was mostly women. Other than a couple of elders from the flower sect, all of them possessed a lovely appearance. Hence, only at this moment did Jiyu Qingyang and the rest discover that the atmosphere had become a little strange. After hearing Xuan'er's earlier words, many eyes landed on Kai Lin. They were aware of plenty of information related to Xiao Yan. Therefore, they understood who Kai Lin was after some thoughts. Their expressions quickly became a little strange. This Xiao Yan, was he really planning on enjoying both women? In spite of their relationship with Xiao Yan, they involuntarily felt a blotch in their hearts when they thought of this. Just what position did Xuan'er possess in the Jiyu clan? She was the goddess in the hearts of countless clan members. Forget about Xiao Yan having successfully obtained Xun Er's heart. The fact that he was planning on enjoying two beauties was a little too good, right? Although these thoughts whirled around their hearts, none of them were foolish enough to give voice to these thoughts. Since Xun Er had not created a disturbance, they were unable to say much despite feeling a knot in their hearts. Xun Er appeared quite calm while everyone was feeling embarrassed. She was gentle and polite as she greeted everyone behind Xiao Yan. However, she paused slightly when her eyes met Nalin Yanran's eyes. The last time that the two of them had met was when Nalin Yanran had come to the Xiao clan to end the engagement. At that time, Nalin Yanran was haughty and arrogant. After these years of polishment, she was no longer the same arrogant and overbearing person from back then. Nalin Yanran's face did not reveal anything in front of Xun Er's scanning eyes. However, her heart was complicated as she recalled something. When she was about to leave after having successfully resolved the issue of ending the engagement, Xun Er, who was seated beside the window, had uttered some words to her. "Lady Nalin, hopefully you won't regret what you have done today." These words, which contained some cold indifference, were spoken in a somewhat soft and ethereal voice over a decade ago, yet Nalin Yanran clearly remembered them. Moreover, the thing that caused her to feel a little downcast was that these words had come true 10 years ago. She had indeed regretted her actions, but this regret was useless. Xiao Yan Gege, you have come to the ancient wasteland region because of the Bodhisattva ancient tree, right? Xun Er's bright eyes shifted to Xiao Yan after having greeted everyone. She asked him a question. Xiao Yan hurriedly nodded when he saw that Xun Er did not do anything. He felt an apology take shape in his heart. The guilt in his heart had become even denser the more Xun Er acted as though she was unconcerned. He understood that Xun Er was unwilling to let this matter cause a din and give him a headache. We will be able to enter the deepest part of the ancient wasteland region if we walk further north. The Bodhisattva ancient tree is in that direction. Xun Er's delicate finger pointed to the north of the ancient region stage as she softly said. However, it is very difficult to reach the Bodhisattva ancient tree because there is a ferocious beast army guarding it 50 kilometers from here. They have surrounded the deep region. We must charge through the sea of ferocious beasts in order to enter. Everyone here has given it a try during these past few days. However, everyone was blocked and forced to withdraw. The ferocious beast army is not only full of a frightening number, there are also some powerful ones among them that are very difficult to deal with. Xun Er lifted her face. Sunlight scattered down from the sky. Her upturned nose caused her face to reveal an extremely beautiful outline. A gentle jade-like luster seeped out of her skin, appearing like a pure lotus. Such beauty was completely different than Kai Lin's bewitching beauty. No wonder there is such a rich bloody scent on everyone's bodies. They actually charged into the ferocious beast army. Xiao Yan muttered with a sudden understanding. Currently everyone here needs to join hands. Otherwise, none of us will be able to enter. Xun Er parted the black hair on her forehead. Her face turned to a spot that was a short distance away. There was an additional trace of solemnness in her pretty eyes as she said, the temporarily alliance was suggested by that person. Xiao Yan Gege, you should be careful of him because he is from the Hall of Souls. Moreover, he is 1-2 people from the current Han clan's younger generation who will likely be the next Han clan chief. Xiao Yan's heart shook when he heard these words. His eyes followed Xun Er's gaze as he looked over. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.